Hey, what's going on, my hungry friends and those in the Philippines? Today we have an amazing surprise for you. We're gonna be doing Lechon Kawali. You know, it's a staple in the Philippines. It's a amazing piece of pork belly, and it's a center cut that we're gonna be doing today. And what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna make it sweet, we're gonna make it very moist, and at the end, we're gonna crisp up that skin so that way you have a nice crunch at the end. Additionally, we're gonna plate it up, make it real nice for you, and I hope you enjoy it. All right, stay tuned. Okay, so now the first step we're going to do is we're going to prepare this dish. Okay, we're going to start off with our pork belly, fat side down. Okay, there's a reason for it because it's all about the presentation of how we're going to do this. We're going to start off with our hot barbecue rub from Killer Hogs. We're going to do a barbecue style of the Lechon Kawali. The reason why I'm doing it is because we're in my backyard. It's my backyard bistro, and we're going to do a barbecue style. Okay, but you can do it any other way that the Philippines do it. You could put it in boiling water, add bay leaves, star anise, some fresh pepper, but we're gonna do a little different. We're gonna be using that smoker today, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is we're going to add our hot rub. If you have additional fat on this bottom side, you probably wanna cut that off, and you wanna have more of the meat coming down, or facing up, okay? And so what we're gonna do is, we're actually gonna take it like this. Yeah, we're gonna give it a nice, amount of rub onto this. Pork, it can take rub, so obviously be generous with it. More importantly though, you don't want to get the bottom of this because it does have sugar in it, and sugar will burn when we get into the frying process. Okay, so the next part what we're going to do is we're going to apply salt to that. But before we do, we got to put it on a tray, and we don't want any of the brown sugar or any of the rub on the fat cap of this pork belly, okay? So carefully, you're going to take this pork belly and see how it's white on the bottom? We got about a 1/4 inch fat cap on this, okay? Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna wanna take this fat cap of the pork belly, and we're gonna do it in cubes, because what we're gonna wanna do is when we're applying the salt, we wanted to get it right in the crevices of this pork belly, okay? So if you look here, try to be careful. Obviously it's backyard barbecue, so measure as best you can. And if you look, you can see how I'm only going to go maybe a 1/4 into it, right where the meat and the fat is meeting, okay? So you're going to repeat the steps, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut it into squares. I'm going to come right here, do the same thing latitude-wise. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our salt, and now we're going to go generous with it. Get it in between the cracks. Again, being very liberal with the salt, because what's going to happen is I'm going to show you what this looks like before it goes in the refrigerator. This does get placed in that refrigerator for about 12 to 24 hours or so, okay? But I wanted you to see how I prepared this dish, okay? And through the miracle of time, this has actually been sitting in the fridge for about 12 hours or so. Okay, so if you take a look, you can see how that moisture has already dropped off. Before, what I didn't show you was I took a napkin and I dried it off as best as I can before we even began. Okay, so now the next step what we're going to do, through the miracle of time again, because this had already came out, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this in our smoker, and that smoker is going to run at 250 degrees or so. Okay, so let's go ahead and place this in the smoker as is, because what it's going to do is, as it's going to continue to draw out moisture, it's going to release all that fat. Okay, and we're going to want that fat towards the end. Okay, all right, and what we're going to do is we're going to have this in the smoker for about 3 to 4 hours or so. We want our internal temp about 195 degrees or so before we start crisping up that skin, okay? So 3 to 4 hours, I'll see you guys soon. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna make coconut rice. Being Filipino, we ate rice every single day, all the way till, geez, maybe I was 19 years old, 20 years old. But I went in the Marine Corps at 17 and a half, so every time I went on leave, I would go home and man, there was a pot of rice ready. So I'm gonna show you how to make coconut rice. It's real simple, folks. All we're gonna do is we're gonna take about a cup to 2 cups of rice, and if you take a look at it, just simple rice. And what we do as Filipinos, right, we actually wash the rice and we swish it around. And we do it 3 times, and this is the first time. But as you can see, it's getting all the carbs off of the rice, and see how it's cloudy? Okay, so what we do is we drain out the rice, and we do it again. And see, you can see that the rice is getting a little bit cleaner. Swish it around more. And now, this should be sufficient enough. See how it's lighter now? And what I'm going to do is I'm still continuing to drain the rice. I'm going to force all the water out as much as possible because we're going to add the coconut water. Continue to turn it. For some reason, I think water is heavier than rice in this. Kind of weird, right? Alright, so let's get over here. Alright. And all we're going to do is add our coconut water, ensuring that all the rice particles is off the sides of the walls of the pot. Now, as Filipinos, we have a rule, okay? So as you're looking at this rice, look at the density of the rice to the water, okay? If you look at it, there's a space between the top of the liquid to the rice, and we try to get it to right around that line. That's our measuring cup, folks. This is what we do, okay? Filipinos, that's how we measure. We measure by our fingertips. Okay, so when I did about 1.5 cups to one of the Kirkland brand's coconut water, it's right about there. So if you take a look at it, boom. I've been doing it so long, I must have made this pot, geez, 4,000 times. And let me tell you, it comes out perfect every single time. Not sure how the steamer does it, but you pop it in there and turn it on, and this thing will let us know when it's done. Okay, so right now, we're going to continue to smoke our meat, our pork belly, and excuse if I'm sweating a lot, it's about 3,000 billion degrees, but I'm sure our family and friends in the Philippines, they're used to it, so they're probably laughing at me. Thanks, guys. So anyhow, stay tuned, and we should be done in probably about another 1.5 to 2 hours, okay? Stay tuned. All right, guys, so listen, we have been smoking this for about 4.5 hours or so. Let's go ahead and take a look at it, okay? Come on down and take a look. Okay, so this is supposed to be right around 195. And we are right about there. Of course, it's going to be a little warmer, but it's like butter going in right here, so that's good. And you're also feeling to see if it's like butter as it goes in with no resistance, okay? Alright, so it's ready. We're going to go and take it off. And let's go ahead and get this off. And what we're going to do is we are now going to fry the top part that we discussed earlier. Okay? Look at that. And we're going to take the grease. It's going to go right in this pan, all of it. Because we are going to render the fat more in this grease. Okay? All right, so now what we're gonna do is, now we had poured our grease into the pan, the grease from this pork belly. We're gonna also add in some olive oil. And what it'll do is it'll help with the burning process, the frying process. And we're gonna cover probably right around that much of the fat, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna kick it up into medium-high heat. And we're also gonna take our pork belly and we're gonna go fat side down. Okay. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna bring the oil even higher to temp, and we're gonna give it that nice, amazing crisp to that fat part of the pork belly, okay? So you're gonna watch it here in a little bit. It'll start bubbling in about 2 or 3 minutes or so, but we're gonna let this cook for about 10 to 12 minutes, okay? And then we'll be ready to rock and roll and plate our food, and we're gonna get started to eat, okay? Stay tuned. Look at that. Crispy. And what we're going to do is we're going to let this cool for a second. Turn that off. And we'll let that sit for a minute. Okay, so let's go ahead and recap, guys. What we did was we took our pork belly, and on the meaty side, we put our hot barbecue rub. We then went ahead and flipped it over, cut into cubes. We added a fine salt to it, and we threw it into the smoker. We put it in the smoker for 250 degrees for about 4 hours or so. We then pulled it off. We fried the fatty part to make sure we got that amazing crisp. And as you can see, we have an amazing product right in front of us. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and cut it up. We're gonna plate it and let's go ahead and test it out and see how this tasted out, okay? And as you can see, it's crisp. Okay, and what I like to do is, I like to turn it over like this. Just cut right on that seam. See that? Okay. Look at this, guys. Get a few more cuts. And this is like literally a pork steak, if you ask me, guys. Unbelievable. And look at this. We're gonna cut this into cubes. Just want to try it and dig in and get a piece of this. Let's see. I mean, look at this, guys. It's crispy. It's meaty. Mmm. Woo! Damn. My hungry friends, listen. I'm getting the amazing salt from the crisp. It's very, very moist. Man, it's packed with so much flavor. You guys gotta try this. Let's go ahead and plate this, okay? All right, so we're gonna do this. Okay, put a little bit of onion. Give it some color. Then what we're going to do is we're going to give it a little pop. Get over here. Okay. Then what we're going to do, take our rice, give it a quick tap. All right. Then what I did was, before we even started today, I took our cucumber and I kind of shredded it down. I made something cute. Just make it look really nice, okay? All right. What we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of cilantro or parsley. Just give a little bit of color. Just a little drizzle, folks, and we are good. Hey, thank you guys, everyone, for allowing me to cook my Lechon Kawali. I want to thank my family and friends in the Philippines and all my friends here back at home. If you guys like what you saw, please subscribe to my channel. And if you like this video, ring that bell. Thank you and have a good night, guys.